Welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is...
Phil, me, and Parrish.
Hey, Phil, so glad to have you here. We're a little behind schedule because after a super long, all-new Marvel Roundup, I actually fell asleep. And this was my bad, 100% my bad. Phil was ready. Phil, the consummate professional, was sitting there waiting, saying, "Where am I?" But I was snoozing. So if there was any delay in this week's Superconnectivity, blame me, not Phil.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone. I bored him to sleep.
Yeah. No. It's just. That was a long episode, 2 hours, and that is part of what we're going to talk about tonight, which is what's the deal with Marvel and all these dang books. But I want to get a couple of things out of the way first, because we did get some breaking news this week, which was that it is now official that in Ragnarok, Thor and Hulk will battle each other in a gladiatorial arena. That basically Thor finds Hulk, and he has been transported to the planet Sakaar, where he has been a gladiator. This is the new synopsis just released by Disney, and Thor must do battle with him. And, this has me a little worried. Because it seems to me that we're already looking at one story that we've been told is there, which is finding Odin on Earth, working with Doctor Strange, integrating Doctor Strange into the story. But from our synopsis, it sounds like there's a huge chunk of this story that is, going to be gladiatorial fighting on Sakaar. And I get worried that they're trying to tell too many stories, sometimes I think with these movies, they can try to put in too much because they're trying to super pack them. And then you wind up with, a Spider-Man 3. Where you have a lot of great villains and a lot of great things, but nothing ever gets explored as well as it really should be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. For some reason, they try to pack a lot into the character's third movies. Just ask Captain America.
Yeah. But, to that extent, Cap. Here's what I'll say. Captain America is a team book movie.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America... He's a leader of men, so he's best in a leadership role. It's interesting, even when you think about it, when you break down the other characters, I think Iron Man does best on his own.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cap works best as a team player. Thor, Thor, I think actually, I think Thor actually does work best on his own too. I think Thor is his own thing. I think what you so often have with these is just this idea of, your main character, being a sort of a blank slate that you project yourself upon. Although, arguably, you don't really get that with Iron Man or Thor in his own way. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going with this. I worry that, I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited that we're basically getting a Planet Hulk film stuffed into Thor. A little disappointed that we're not going to get an actual Planet Hulk film. But then again, an actual Planet Hulk film, this is one of the things that I think you always have to take into account when you're discussing what fans would like movie companies to do and what movie companies should actually do. Because, you and me and every other nerd out there says, oh, Planet Hulk film, that would be awesome, that would be great. Forgetting the fact that Planet Hulk exists in a world where there is so much drama, plot, and backstory of the Incredible Hulk already established.
Mm-hmm.
That, you're going to, you can't go essentially we're going into Planet Hulk after already having had really several decades of unintelligent Hulk and a Hulk and Banner kind of working together inside the Hulk. Mm-hmm. That was so long ago, well established in the comics. That heck, we had the entire Grey Hulk run.
Yeah.
For years, where this idea of the Hulk is intelligent. You also have the fact that the Hulk, even in his inception, was always much more verbal, much more intelligent than the Hulk has been in the movies. Mm-hmm. So I think going right into a Planet Hulk thing, which I guess maybe is its one redemption to the Planet Hulk idea, is that he is, that I know that this was a debate that they were having, was how much are they going to have the Hulk talk in it? And I still have not heard what they decided.
Well, I mean, they could always go with, I don't know, some kind of alien technology or, an Infinity Stone, something to, like, up the Hulk's IQ a little bit. But
yeah. Well, no, I mean, yeah. Once you get the Grand Master involved, I mean, the idea of having a more control over the Hulk, and in fact, for what it's worth, that may be why the Hulk is there.
Mm-hmm. But
this idea that, I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, and do you think it's like going to be a full-on like Planet Hulk plot line, or is it just going to be like a Thor and Hulk fight for 5 or 10 minutes on an alien planet? So they say, "Oh, Planet Hulk."
Well, I mean, what it sounds to me, I mean, and again, we got like one paragraph, broken to me by the lovely Grace Randolph on YouTube. What we got was basically one paragraph, but it basically has as its plot points that the Hulk has already been established in this gladiatorial arena when Thor is brought to it. Mm-hmm. I guess, and what you may have is and that he has to get out of the arena because he has to get back to Asgard to prevent Ragnarok, because Thor or Odin is gone and something's going on. So we don't know what yet. We know that when we last saw Loki, he was sitting on the throne of Asgard. And I guess we also know that our main antagonist in this is going to be Hela, goddess of the underworld. So that's interesting.
But I mean, you're worried about them trying to stuff too much in there, but I mean, watch. Doctor Strange is probably going to be in there 5 or 10 minutes. And the Hulk, I mean, like Civil War. Everyone thought Spider-Man was one of the best parts of Civil War, but honestly, how long was he in Civil War? Half hour, maybe?
No, but you got Peter Parker's full backstory in it. Uh-huh. Of course, a lot of that was shorthanded, but you can shorthand it. Uh-huh. What I'm saying is, I think it's harder to shorthand all the things that went into Planet Hulk into a little Spider-Man type spot.
Well, basically, all they say is, how did Hulk get here? And then, just 1 or 2 lines of, oh, yes, he's like the greatest gladiator we've had. And
yeah. Yeah. Well, I wonder if what they're going to do is going to be something more, what I wonder if, okay. So going back to the original Planet Hulk storyline, it was one of the interesting things they did there was they had, after the Hulk is there, they bring out this big secret weapon, the great warrior that no one has ever been able to defeat, and he will defeat the Hulk, mm-hmm. The Green Scar, and of course it's the Silver Surfer. Oh. So I'm wondering if what they're going to do is they're going to be doing sort of the Planet Hulk storyline, but with it sort of a Planet Thor, and then when they bust it out, it's the Hulk who comes in. Mm-hmm. Now, exactly how, and again, it's this question of how does the Hulk get there? What is the Hulk's position in this world? And then of course it's Thor and the Hulk sort of trying to find a way to work together. It's interesting. I'm excited, but I am worried. And I do get worried about these films. That's always the problem with Marvel. When you're making a DC film, no one's expecting it to be good. So when it is halfway decent, people get really excited. Like Suicide Squad, people were like, good for you, DC. You had a plot that was somewhat consistent, and semi-believable characters that behaved consistently throughout their arc. Sort of. Good for you, DC. No one expects that much from a DC film. So when they do good, everyone gets excited. People expect so much from a Marvel film. Any faltering, and we see this because every time a Marvel film comes out, there's always this entire chorus of, it wasn't so great. It wasn't so great. It wasn't so good. I didn't like it. Mostly just from Rob. Rob and Lil, they just... They are critics, and as a critic, you must find the fault. That is what you do. That is how you make better art.
Rob doesn't like him because he misses half the movie because he falls asleep.
Yeah, well, but of course that's not the ring endorsement. Although, to be fair, that could also, it may not really be about the film. It may just be, man gets tired. He does have a young daughter. And children, basically they have that energy because they suck it out of you.
Plus,
they're like little psychic vampires.
And podcast network, and he's going back to school. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he has a lot on his plate. So it's understandable he does fall asleep because he finally gets I'm by myself finally in the dark and alone. Oh, let me watch this film. I understand that. Trust me.
I was gonna say Charlie's defended him today.
And honestly, I think I might have fallen asleep I've fallen asleep in a few films over the years. So it's films I like, but it's just like, oh, hey, well, what? Because I got so late and, and you just don't get enough sleep anymore. Anyway, but that's our big MCU news. I mean, the other thing that's coming up is apparently we are getting some new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. intel on what it's going to be with the LMDs. And it looks like we're getting this, that basically Ida is trying to find the Darkhold to get more secrets from it, I guess. How to be a real boy, I guess, or how to be a real girl. And there is some scenes we've gotten some clips of basically Ida and LMD May basically beating people up. And I do get the feeling that Mace is going to get Worfed in this a lot, Because he is our super strong character on staff. And so, of course, to show how powerful the big bad is you have them beat him up. He already got Worfed against Ghost Rider, Mm-hmm. So I strongly think Mace getting Worfed is going to be... I think we may start calling it getting maced instead of getting Worfed after this season. For those unfamiliar with the term, getting Worfed... comes from Star Trek The Next Generation, where Worf was the Klingon security officer who was, of course, the biggest, baddest guy on the Enterprise. And so anytime a villain would show up, to show how powerful that villain was, they would, of course, beat up Worf, showing that they were stronger than anyone else there. So this happened so often that it became a trope called being Worfed. So, yes, although, as I've said, may soon be called being maced. Anyway, still we're waiting on Mace's origin, which should be coming. I believe the first issue, I always call them issues. The first episode back is called Patriot. So I think that's implying we may get his backstory, but we've been excited for that for so long. They may never give us a backstory on Mace. They may just say he's an Inhuman, he's powerful, he has a name, deal with it.
And can I say I'm not panicked anymore because my DirecTV was in they were having a tiff with my local the company who owns my local ABC station, so I was worried I wasn't going to get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but my ABC is back today, so.
If you have cable, I think you can go to ABC, ABC.com and get. Well, actually, ABC.com, you actually should be able to get all these things automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an over broadcast network. If nothing else, you could always just dig out the old rabbit ears.
Yeah, I got a digital antenna, but I'm always like, I usually don't even watch it live. But yeah, but my station is back, so I don't have to worry about it. My DVR will record it.
Yay. Yeah, speaking of that, and The Incredible Hulk is no longer on Netflix.
No.
Yes, which is troublesome for the Gamma Cast.
Oh, jeez.
Fortunately, it is on Hulu, but only till the end of season 3. which we're like halfway through now. So GammaCast is in dire need of maybe buying the DVDs. Although that might be good because then maybe I can get the movies. But yeah, really annoyed by that. That as Civil War and these Marvel films are coming to Netflix, this great classic Marvel show has been taken off. So, not happy on that. There's a lot of stuff out there right now. Everyone is jockeying for position.
Seriously,
Marvel is sort of belle of the ball, and they're really, they're with everybody. They're like, yeah, let's do a little of this, let's do a little of that. Let's see who else wants to be with Marvel. Which is everybody.
Somewhere it should be Netflix if nowhere else. Anything that has a Marvel character in it should be on Netflix.
Yeah, it should be, but it doesn't,
Every TV series, every cartoon, every movie, that'll all be there.
Yeah, well, that's what we want, but we have to. It's not what we're going to get right now.
If you want Red, Brown, Captain America, it should be on there.
Well, I think when we're done with the Hulk, I'm going to talk to Maz about maybe doing, the 69 Spider-Man, or not the 69, the 78 Spider-Man, the 78 Cap, do the Hulk movies, from the 80s. That's, I'm going to see if we can keep GammaCast going with the entire Marvel televised universe of the, do the Doctor Strange movie.
Ooh,
come on. Everyone loved that one.
Marvel Cast, man. Yeah, well, we'll see what we do. Maybe we'll tie it into the Enough Set feed too. There you go. Because Lilith Hellfire and I have an idea for a show too, also.
Oh, sweet!
Like reviewing every issue of Deadpool we can get our hands on.
Oh well, hey, I'm sure there's a market. People love Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
Yes. My Tristan got a Deadpool little toy from the dentist today, so he was very excited by that. Didn't like going to the dentist, but he liked the Deadpool toy at the end. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to make this a super long. I was there wasn't much to talk about, but I was like, well, actually, there's a lot to talk about. Okay. So one thing I did want to get to, because because one of the things I really wanted to talk about is, and an overarching theme, getting to the comic books, is where the Marvel U sits right now, post Civil War, post Secret War. And one of the things I found most interesting, which had a big old lampshade hung on it in the new Unstoppable Wasp, is how many of the smartest men in the universe are no longer around? Mm-hmm. Because now officially, Reed's gone, who was always officially the smartest.
Uh-huh.
Tony is now kaput.
At least in a coma or something, yeah.
Yeah, he's something. He's not active in the Marvel Universe at the moment. Along those same lines,
Bruce Banner's dead.
Bruce Banner is dead. Thank you. I was getting someone. I was keeping going to. The leader is out of the mix because we haven't seen the leader in a long time.
Uh-huh.
As far as I know, he's not around. So you've got so at least 3 or 4 of the 7 smartest men in the world are off the list now. You still have T'Challa, you still have Doom.
Mm-hmm.
As one could point out, I doubt Doom ever sat down for a test. So I don't know on the list.
Hank Pym's out of the picture.
Oh, Hank Pym, yeah, there we go. That's the other one I was thinking. Yeah, Hank Pym, another one of the world's smartest men. Of the original world's smartest men captured by the intelligentsia, you have Hank McCoy,
mm-hmm.
and you have T'Challa. And I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, because I was even going to say, if you go by the original Illuminati, Xavier's dead, Namor's dead still, isn't he?
No, Namor's back. Namor came back last issue.
Okay.
Yeah, though he's not really one of the world's smartest men.
No, but I was saying Illuminati even.
Yeah. Well, the whole smartest men thing came from the intelligentsia.
Mm.
That was the supervillain group of mad scientists,
mm-hmm.
which was MODOK, Leader, Egghead, Mad Thinker, and Doom, I believe. And I think MODOK came in after Egghead died.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Dr. Octopus was one of the Intelligentsia 2, I think. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, and Red Ghost. Red Ghost was one of them too. Who is also dead now. Man, dropping like flies. Yeah, so but and in the Wasp, they make this point that, all of these world's smartest people, they're all men. Because it's and really kind of imply that it's just an old boys club, that all these guys, they know each other, they work together, and that's why they got on the list of the world's smartest people. Mm-hmm. And that obviously people like Monica Rappaccini, maybe Barbara Morse, certainly Moon Girl, who is now the new smartest person, because they made the point that she's like the first woman to break the top 20, but she's at number 1, and that there should be all these other women on this. And it got me thinking how much of the new Marvel universe is super genius smart girls, which I don't mind. I love a super genius smart girl character. I mean, heck, one of my favorite characters who still isn't getting the due she deserves is Fiona Fitzhugh, the Reed Richards chair at Empire's, the current Reed Richards Scholar at Empire State University. Mm-hmm. Wasn't even mentioned as being part of the Girls in Action Research Lab, or Geniuses in Action Research Lab. It strikes me as this thing Marvel is doing, because it's just, and maybe it's just the books I'm reading, but I realize that on this diversity question, it's like every book I'm reading, it's either a female protagonist, a protagonist of color, one who is not a standard superhero. Mm-hmm. Not that, alpha white male superhero. And it just really, really surprised me recently when I realized how much of my, when I look at the books I'm reading Hulk, which is Jen Walters. I'm reading, Occupy, which is, of course, I mean, Occupy obviously has Hawkeye, but also has Red Wolf, and coming soon, Nighthawk back. It just strikes me that there are a lot of books out there that Marvel is pushing. And I don't know what these books are actually getting readership-wise. I know that I'm reading them, and but I never know if I'm indicative of the Marvel readership. I think every person who reads Marvel comics thinks they are not indicative of Marvel readership, because everyone has that book that they love that gets canceled. So
I mean, I would read every single one if I had the money or they gave them to me for free. But it just seems like they're flooding the market, because like all the major, all the characters used to be white males. Mm-hmm. They were either replaced with a woman or a person of color, which is fine. But the thing that bothers me is, like, a lot of them now, there's 2 of each character. Spider-Man, you have Peter Parker, you have Miles Morales. Hell, you got 20 different Spider-Men. But I mean, Thor, you have the original Thor, and you have Jane Foster Thor. It's like, quit flooding the market. If you want a female Thor, fine, but don't give us the original Thor too, or just have them both in one book, or you're flooding the market. You want a female Iron Man, fine, just go with her.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think there is a real market for an infamous Iron Man. I think there's a real market for a Riri Williams. I think that there's a market for both. Honestly, our complaining that there's too many good books is really not a complaint that Marvel understands.
Yeah,
it's like we're making too many good things and you're mad. Because it's not like the quality would increase if there were fewer books.
No, but I'm just mad because I want to read them all and I can't afford to.
Well, we got to get that Marvel Unlimited thing, man. It's supposed to give you more books. I don't know how, but it's supposed to.
I have, but it's like a few months. It's books from like a few months ago. It's like I want them now. I want the brand new one now.
Yeah, you want them. You want it now, because by the time the next one comes out, there's already more new books you got to be reading. So yeah,
exactly.
So it's a difficulty. Oh, but that's sort of this interesting thing. And now also within this, in our post Civil War, post Secret War, and it's an interesting thing to me, like how much of the post Civil War world is directly related to the post Secret War world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm wondering about things like this new Secret Empire. This is, of course, the new teaser that we've gotten, which is Secret Empire with Cap's shield. Now, Secret Empire, which is the now it's Captain America's Secret Empire, which is, you know, I mean, honestly, that bothers me way more than Cap saying Hail Hydra. Because I always felt from the very inception of Hail Hydra, once by the second issue we got, that it was a different kind of Hail Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, yeah, but now for him to do a Secret Empire, now Secret Empire, of course, was this storyline where very overtly racist Secret Empire, which was run by Richard Nixon, was secretly controlling the U.S. government. Now, obviously, this is something we're going to be going into in comic books, not in real life, I saying, kids, before you start writing those letters, of the secret organization run by Cap. Because obviously, like I said, I think that no one finds him out. I think that's the big twist in the Captain America plotline, is that no one ever finds out that he is secretly Hydra. That he's going to establish his new Hydra after he defeats the Red Skull, after he takes Kobik under his wing in some way, and perhaps even establishes himself as the president of the United States, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, you know, any number of things could happen, you know? With Kobik, that is what she can do, you know?
Shouldn't that set off some alarm bells? Because, I mean, he's been offered the presidency before and he's turned it down.
Yes.
He's given reasons, and you shouldn't someone be like, oh, wait a minute, how did he turn this down a couple times? Why is he all... I just think that his plans are just going to be getting bigger and bigger until eventually it's going to be his plan's going to get too big not to be noticed.
I don't know, man. You know, that's the thing about these stories. When you tell these stories, they always have to get bigger. Mm-hmm. They always have to get more complex, and they always have to surprise you. And one of the things I'm thinking about this is one of the things that seems in our post-Civil War, or in our post-Secret War world, and a little bit before Secret Wars too, but in this post-Secret Wars world, post-Civil War world, there seems to be this strong ideal at Marvel to move to the next generation, to move beyond the past, to create new things that, first off, they own lock, stock, and barrel, and that create this broader, stronger universe, you know? Mm-hmm. And, you know, one of the things that I think you could have in that is you can have a status quo of a not evil Captain America, because that's the thing to remember. He's not an evil Captain America. He's still Captain America. He's still the Captain America who fought the Nazis. And we saw this in the last episode of Steve Rogers' Captain America, how there was this feeling among those that Steve is the chosen one, not Hitler. That Hitler was going to be defeated, and the defeat of Hitler was something that Steve worked towards. So I get the feeling, you know, and that's the thing, is that, you know, whatever Kobik does has to fit into the past and the universe as it existed. Mm-hmm. You know, so maybe what you had was this idea of this fractured Hydra. Even then, a fractured Hydra, with Cap being part of this group that did not want to follow Hitler, that felt that Hitler was not the way, and that obviously they needed to let the battle go because someone was going to wind up in power, either the United States or Hitler, and best to have agents in every group so that whoever wound up the winner. And so, and then along those lines, obviously it is in Cap's best interest to defeat the Nazis and Hitler, though when he comes across Hydra, then they can, you know, say, okay, you know, Hail Hydra, let's call truce on this, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of possible with this. But because of how storied the Secret Empire story is, how controversial that was in the day, how really intense an emotion is associated with that idea of the president. It sounds so funny nowadays to say, you know, the president is a secret racist. Ooh,
A secret,
you know, yeah, a secret racist. You know, oh man, it is so hard to talk about comic books now because I don't think that comic books really mean to be this political. I think we just accidentally elected a supervillain. I think that's just all. Except not really a supervillain, just a guy with all of the bad traits of a supervillain and none of the managerial qualities of a supervillain. You know. Yeah, I know. That's my opinion. I like I say, I really think that I do think that Trump is too incompetent to actually cause too much damage. So that's what I'm relying on right now, is that he's too hubristic to let anyone else run it who is more evil, and too incompetent to actually run it evilly himself. So he's kind of the Doofenshmirtz of evil presidents. Yeah. Okay, let's not be political. Have to say that for myself. I don't know. What do you think about Secret Empire, Phil? I mean, how do you approach that? How do you look at Secret Empire? And you, of course, you're as big of a Cap fan as me, going back to these old books with their strong political leanings. How do you feel about it?
Like I said, I just wonder if he's going to take it up to a notch so much where he's going, where Cap's going, you know, he's going to get discovered. There's going to be a big battle, and either through Kobik or some other means, Cap's going to be reverted to normal eventually. I mean, I'm not saying it might not even be the next 6 months or the next year, but eventually I think he's going to get reverted to normal. And maybe, you know, since we have these, these similarities to the original Secret Empire storyline, maybe he's going to, you know, once he's back to normal, he's going to be like, what did I do? He's going to drop the shield for a while, and is he going to do like another Nomad or another identity like that for a while?
We need another Nomad. Mm-hmm. Although I want Jack Monroe back as Nomad. Actually, you know who I really want as Nomad? I want William Burnside back as Nomad. Ricky Barnes would be great back as Nomad, but I have no idea where she is currently. I think she's in some other dimension. Mm-hmm. But I would love for William Burnside, in honor, because William Burnside is still alive. The last we saw William Burnside, he was in a hospital bed, was in SHIELD custody, was being treated with dignity and respect by Steve Rogers, saying, I know you've been through a lot, soldier, and it's okay. You can retire. There are others to take up the battle. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see William Burnside come out of whatever, SHIELD reprogramming facility they put him in, probably the same one they did with Jack Monroe, and have him come out and say, I'm Nomad now, Mm-hmm. And maybe even saying, I don't know this country, that's one of those weird things about everything is like there are racist ideals that have always been present in this country, but few people who really said they were racist. Mm. And I think we're getting more and more people who are proudly racist, who are worrisome to these people that were only casually racist. Mm-hmm. Casual racism, it's a thing, and it's on all groups, all sides. Every group has their casual racism. Everybody has their casual racism because it's easy and it's a great way to classify people. Not a great way, but it's a way that people classify people. Mm. And, we do it to ourselves and we do it to other people. But a lot of these people, I think, get really worried when stuff gets too overt. Because there is that line you cross. And so it would be neat to me to see a guy like William Burnside, even maybe even embracing a guy like Sam Wilson, because, William Burnside was upset about, and what it is, in the 50s, he's going against, counterculturalists because he sees them as communists, but the fact of the matter is that counterculturalists also were members of minority groups and other things played into it. It wasn't because they were a minority for him, because he is a purist in his ideals. is because they represented a political ideology. And I got to imagine that a guy like William Burnside isn't going to fall into the trap of oversimplification, of, well, they're this, so they must be that, Sort of like what we get right now with the people who view followers of Islam as people who are not to be trusted because Islam is not to be trusted, as if Islam was more misogynistic than literally every other religion that was currently out there in the world. It's or more hating of the outsider, because it's not. I mean, it's not to say that it's 100% all welcoming and loving of everyone, because no religion is. By virtually all religions by their nature exist within a perspective of we're the insider and you're the outsider. At best, you can have a group like that says, well, we're the insiders, but you're okay. You have, as the Catholic Church says, you have baptism by desire, which means you never really went through all the stuff to be saved, but just because it's not because you actively rejected salvation, you're still saved. It's a very complex doctrine within Roman Catholicism that essentially is a universalism ideal without actually being universalism. Because it doesn't say that everybody gets saved, but it says that if you don't convert to Catholicism, but not because, what it is because of no fault of your own, and you can broadly interpret that to mean that it's not your fault if no one ever explained it to you properly, And so you can have this idea, but even then, it's still this idea that, well, we're this group and you're not. Mm-hmm. We're the ones that are already here. We're going to let you in because we're just that nice of people. And so every religion is like that. Every religion has their outsiders and their antagonism towards outsiders. So, I think that a guy like William Burnside, when facing stuff like that, is not going to be the overt racist that people think he is, because he does see the problems with, and then even to tie it back to people who are worried about Muslims, I don't even think that a lot of people that are worried about Muslims are necessarily worried about the Muslim who owns the bakery down their spot. They're not worried about Ms. Marvel, They're not worried about all the many hundreds of American citizens. They're worried about the guys that aren't like that, and they don't know how to tell the difference. But then again, that's sort of the problem. That's why it becomes racism, because you're not taking the time to tell the difference. And you hope that a guy like William Burnside will be a guy that's going to learn to tell the difference. And maybe, like I said, so there we go. That's my big prediction. In the Secret Empire, you're going to see William Burnside come back, but he's not going to be on Cap's side. He's going to be on Sam's side. Mark my words. Okay. Do you have any words you'd like to mark before we call it a night there, Phil?
Charlieesser will be here next week. Mark my words. Well, not for the podcast, but he'll be here. Mark my words.
Yeah, well, I'll be here for the podcast, and I may be in Pitt. Well, no. Well, I mean, we're going to do the podcast Friday night, right?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, we're currently working on a big, enough said, Battle of DC, what is it? Legends of DC crossover event at Phil's house in some place in a secret location in Pennsylvania, deep in the heart of Jim Shooter country, and we're going to have this get together. And I am scheduled to be there, and I'm doing my best to get there. So, friends and neighbors and countrymen, listen for it, coming soon. And I'll tell you what, even if I can't be there, I'll try and Skype into it. But I'm going to try and be there live and in person. We should have Rob Skype in too. Rob was supposed to be there, but Rob, for various reasons, couldn't make it. So we should definitely all try to make this as big of an event as we can. Mm-hmm. Perhaps even live stream it on Facebook or YouTube or one of these other things. I have no idea how they work. But I make big promises and expect other people to do it, because that's what I do. Oh, yes, but we will do our normal Superconnectivity and roundup on Friday night, I believe, right, Phil?
Yeah.
assuming I don't fall asleep. And then with any luck, at 6 a.m. on Saturday, I'm going to be driving off into the sunrise or the sunset or the sunrise in the east. So I'll be driving away from the sunrise,
yes,
trying to get away from that evil, evil sun, get back to that beloved darkness of Pennsylvania. Okay. Okay, that's enough of all of this nonsense. Phil, how can people find you if they'd like to reach out to you and talk to you and tell you how wonderful and awesome you are?
If you want to talk about that shy, quiet fellow Charlieesser, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And check out all the various shows. Like Charlie said, we're on All New Marvel Roundup and Superconnectivity. The two of us and our friends are also on the Legends of DC podcast. I also do Before the Bat. And check out Charlieesser on GammaCast on the 80s Reboot Overdrive.
Yes, and the Cage Cast. And, of course, we were doing this tonight, so I was not able to live tweet.
Oh.
And, yeah, I keep on missing my window of opportunity. But things come up, and I already postponed this. I was like, I don't want to say, wait, I got to go live tweet the Hulk. So, they all know the Hulk's on. But if you would like to follow me when I do live tweet various things, you can do so at Charlieesser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. And, of course, always write to me in that old-fashioned email way at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, hey, look for me on Facebook, too. But, do the Superconnectivity blog one, because that's, like, my thing, but, like, my personal one that's out there, too. I'm starting to worry that a lot of people are, like, finding Charlieesser, and they say, well, that looks like a Charlieesser, and friending me. And then I don't know you, and I don't have anyone in common with you, and I don't want to friend you, but I always take a look at your profile, so if you got comic booky, cosplay stuff, then I'll friend you there, but, But everyone who comes to the Superconnectivity blog at gmail.com Facebook page, which has the Reed Richards logo.
Yes.
You're automatically a friend when you friend me. Okay. That is our story tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for connecting with us once more. Please connect with us again.